Today, we're diving into a scenario that is, frankly, one of the world's biggest geopolitical nightmares, a hypothetical war between Iran and the United States, set in a not-so-distant future. Now, right off the bat, I have to be super clear. What we're about to walk through is a fictional scenario. But it's not just fantasy. It's a projection, right? It's based on very real military capabilities and geopolitical tensions, all designed to explore a really chilling possibility. So this whole thing forces us to ask a huge question. It starts off pretty simply. How does a conflict, one that seems like it's contained to just one part of the world, suddenly spiral into a full-blown global crisis? That's the real question we're digging into today. We're going to trace the potential chain of events just to see how fast those dominoes could actually fall. So, where does a fire like this even start? Well, in our scenario, it all kicks off with one single, massive spark. All right, let's set the scene. The date is February 28th, 2026, and the war begins with a huge coordinated air and missile assault by the United States and Israel. And the targets? They are incredibly strategic. We're talking Iran's nuclear facilities, key military bases, and what's known as a decapitation strike, basically an attempt to take out the country's top leadership all in one go. You just know an attack of that size is not going to go unanswered. Iran's response is immediate, and it doesn't just hit back. It dramatically widens the entire battlefield. Iran's retaliation comes in fast and hard. It unleashes a barrage of missiles and drones, and it doesn't just go after American military bases across the Middle East. No, it also strikes neighboring Gulf countries, places like Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan, essentially punishing them for hosting U.S. forces. This really shows you the stark difference in strategy. The first attack is surgical, right? Aimed at these very specific, high-value targets. But the retaliation, it's a firestorm. It's meant to be broad. It's a classic asymmetric move. You expand the conflict, you raise the stakes for everybody involved, and you just create chaos. It's a brutal, escalating cycle. So, in just 3 weeks, this thing is no longer a contained conflict. It has exploded into a full-on regional firestorm, and the consequences, they're devastating. And this number, this is the human cost. In only 21 days, more than 2,000 people have been killed or wounded or forced from their homes. This isn't some clean, remote war fought with buttons. It's getting messy, and it is getting messy fast. At this point, the world isn't just watching because of the violence. The entire world is watching because the global economy is starting to feel a massive shockwave. This is the moment the regional conflict officially goes global. And to understand why, you have to look at this one little piece of geography, the Strait of Hormuz. It might not look like much, it's just a narrow channel of water, but it is probably the single most important choke point for the entire world's energy supply. Just think about this for a second. A staggering 20%, that's 1/5 of all the oil the world uses, sails through that tiny strait. So in our scenario, when Iran moves to control it or even shut it down, suddenly the lights in the global economy really start to flicker. And here's what that looks like in real time. This chart shows oil prices just skyrocketing from a pretty stable $75 a barrel to over $100. And look, that's not just a number for Wall Street. That translates directly to you and me paying more at the pump, higher shipping costs for everything, and a new wave of inflation that hits every single one of us. So, all of this brings us to the final and frankly terrifying question of this whole scenario. With the region in flames and the global economy buckling under the strain, where on earth does it go from here? The experts are pretty clear on this, and their warning is, well, it's chilling. The risk here is no longer just about a regional war or an economic crisis. The real danger, as this quote points out, is that if more countries get dragged into this, the conflict could become the spark for a major global war. And that's where this scenario leaves us. Right on a razor's edge. We're at this incredibly fragile turning point, facing the ultimate question. Do the next few days somehow lead to a fragile peace? Or do they push the entire world over the brink into a much bigger, much more devastating war?